Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek Discovery, Season 1, Episode 5. It is called Choose Your Pain. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. Very... not a traditional Star Trek episode title, I don't think.
I mean, I think that goes for most of them, but they're all nailing the titles.
This
You hear it go, that's a good title.
this one especially, because at least the first one, Battle at Binary Stars, that sounds... Yeah, I can see that being a
Yeah,
Star Trek title. Whereas this one, Choose Your Pain, it's more like Saw 9, Choose Your Pain.
That's true.
So, there's that. Which actually, the first thing I actually want to talk about in this, there was an F-bomb in this episode. Well, two F-bombs actually. And
Yeah.
I wanted to bring it up because A, it shocked me. When Tilly dropped an F-bomb, I was shocked. Don't get me wrong, I actually like the moment because it's a very kind of... Because she's the opposite character you'd expect it to come from, which is why it works.
Yeah.
But the reason why I really want to bring it up is because way back, we do a TV news show every week, and way back when they first announced that this was going to be TVMA rated, we sort of talked about that. Oh, that's weird. That's the first for Star Trek, and we said, oh, it'll probably be a little bit more violent. Maybe they'll just be a bit more, the themes will be a bit more adult. But we specifically said, I remember specifically saying they will not be dropping F-bombs on a Star Trek show.
We got
And
that one wrong.
we got that one wrong. I don't think we're idiots though. I feel like that was a fair thing to say at the time.
I stand by, even after seeing it, I stand by saying it because it's like,
Yeah.
it's still weird, isn't it?
It is weird because I was shocked when she said it. And the funny thing is the scene plays like Michael kind of like looks at her like, "Did you just say that?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He's like, "No," and like statements like, "No, you're right. It is effing awesome."
Yeah.
So it was almost like an almost meta reaction within the scene to someone dropping an F bomb on Star Trek.
Yeah. And I think it's also weird because obviously I like the moment, but I thought if they were gonna do F bombs, it would be in like a high tense moment, not as as a joke essentially.
Yeah, a little throwaway kind of character moment where we have Stamets, Tilly, and Michael kind of bonding.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, I think obviously Stamets is very anti-Michael and has been, but I feel like he's the one who's eventually going to stick up for her at some point.
Yeah.
Because she's done nothing but kind of earn his respect by like figuring things out and bringing him problems and bringing him solutions and saying, no, we can't do this, we can't do that, blah, 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 blah. So I think that'll be a thing. Funny enough, Michael probably had the least amount of time this episode that she's had. She obviously she was around for some of that stuff, but Saru got a little bit more time because he was acting captain. Because the plot of this one is the captain Lorca actually gets kidnapped by Klingons.
Yeah, I really like that scene.
Yeah,
Where they come and get him.
yeah, it's a pretty fun scene. The way kind of like him and the pilot like, okay, we need to try and do something, and then the pilot just gets killed like
Immediately.
within seconds, violently. He's done. But the episode starts with he's at like a meeting with these superiors, and they're basically grilling him for all these weird decisions, and they're telling him, no, you cannot take out, stop using that drive. It's depleting. You can't use it anymore. We have to retrofit it into every other ship. You're ordered to stand down. And he's pissed about it. He's like, no, this is a war. I'm here to win fights.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of the character he is. But he gets grilled a little bit on bringing Michael on board and using her. Like, really, you're going to ruin the morale of like, the entire fleet because you're letting her not be punished?
And he's just like, regulations. I'm good.
Yeah. Are you upset with how much power I have, Admiral?
Yeah.
Tough. That's basically his thing. But he gets kidnapped and he ends up in a cell, and this is where we get the introduction of one Harry Mudd.
I've been waiting so long.
Yeah, and he feels like Harry Mudd. I'll give him that. He's got that slimy kind of, that way he's explaining the story of how he ended up here, and is as if he's been hard done by, as if he's not in the wrong, but he's clearly the one in the wrong.
Yeah, that's Harry Mudd in a nutshell.
So he's got that down, and that kind of fits. And even he tries to play them against each other. He's sly and all the rest of it. But we also have Ash, who's another. Given the fact that he's been in the main part of the credits on IMDb for all the episodes so far, and I kept saying, "Who's this asshole?" He's not been here yet. I'm going to assume he's sticking around.
I think because I just caught the actor name. I'm sure I saw it in the opening credits sequence. I'm sure he's a regular.
Yeah. They just haven't interested until now. So, because I was convinced he was going to be dead by the end of the episode. He felt like a goner. He felt like
He did, yeah.
like Mr. Red Shirt Man. Which, to be fair, the show's like just randomly killed off some surprising characters already. And I actually thought, like, because at one point later on, they actually kind of teased that Stamets might be dead, and I'm like, no, they can't be. Not again. Not after the security officer last week. We can't have another quick random death out of nowhere.
The problem is they've set up that it's actually possible, so you consider it still, rather than just throw it away. It's still early enough that you're not too attached to anyone yet.
Yeah, and alternatively, I expected this dude to die because he felt like a one and done, and now he's kind of like, no, you're welcome aboard. You're one of us now. Because it turns out he's been alive for since the start of the war. He was at the Battle of Binary Stars, and the captain's suspicious of him because no one survives 7 months of Klingon interrogation and torture. No one does. But it seems that the female Klingon who is running this ship, this prison, has taken a liking to him, which they don't go into it in any great detail, but the implications are really dark.
Yeah, they are.
Like, and you feel it later on because it almost feels that she gets this really sort of violent phaser blast. Like the phaser like sort of ricochets off the side of the ship, and she gets the side of her face burned. And obviously we see her interrogate Lorca a little bit, but she has a very intimidating presence. But like that end where she gets scarred all down the side of her face, was like, no, she did something to earn this. Just on a sort of thematic level.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those horrific, it shows the horrors of war that he went along with this just because, he could have fought off and gone, no, I'll just take the death either out, but he did it just to survive.
Yeah. And also I like it because it means A, she's not dead, and B, we will recognise her for sure because she's going to have a big scar on the side of her face.
It makes it easy, doesn't it?
And she's going to be pissed, you would imagine. She will be livid about this. So no, I'm curious about that because obviously we learn some more things in these cell scenes. We learn that at the start of the war, Lorca actually destroyed his entire ship. He got off. He never goes into how he got off, and I feel like we might get that later. Like, why did he leave the ship? But
why was he the only one that left? Why didn't anyone else go with him?
Yeah. But he gets off the ship, and he made the choice to destroy his own ship with all his crew on board because they were going to be held captive, and if they were captured by the Klingons, they would have been executed in public. It'd have been a slow, painful death. It'd have been, a show would have been made of it. It was like a mercy killing.
And also, they would be tortured for information.
Yes, and as we've seen with
he never mentions that, but I think that's we see how he's so tactical that I'm sure that was a consideration to him.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do still want to believe that part of it is that he just didn't want his crew to be tortured.
I think that's a big part of it as well. But I think part of it will have been motivated by, no, let's keep information safe too. This is a war.
And as far as also, making sure they don't go through a horrible end. I mean, we've also just seen that maybe this is rare. I'm not sure how rare this is, but at least this one guy has been sexually assaulted by a Klingon.
Yeah. No, it sounds rare just based on context of, what.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, and the way Lorca taunts her.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting that answer because he was thinking, "Are you a spy? Have you turn sides? Are you working for them?" Like that's what he was expecting. That's what he was getting suspicious when he started asking those questions, and I don't think he was expecting just that simple yet very dark answer of, the Klingons taking a liking to me, and that's all you needed. And it's like, oh dear, that's bad. So the other thing, of course, they do is the Klingons just randomly come into the cell. And they'll pick one of them and say, choose your pain. And it's like they have to point to one of the other cellmates, and that's who they assault and potentially kill. And you think they've turned on each other, or not turned on each other, because basically Ash is like, no, pick me, Captain, pick me. I'll take the pain. And you think this is... And Harry Mudd's not in the plan, of course.
Of course.
Which upsets Harry.
Proves that he was a scoundrel and, slipping some info.
Yeah. So that upsets...
Little spider bot.
That upsets Harry to no end, of course. He's screaming, I will not forget this, Lorca. You have upset one Harry S. Mudd. Or is it S? I can't remember. He said his full name. It was like Harry Hart. Yeah. There's a full name. I can't remember what his full name was. But obviously, I expect to see him again because they cast a fairly notable actor in this role.
Yeah, and the way he establishes, he's got this rivalry with Lorca now. Yeah. I feel like it's too good not to exploit.
That said, I could see it only being 1 or 2 episodes.
Oh yeah. I don't think it'll be every episode sort of thing, but I can see it coming back at some point.
Yeah. So they have a little escape sequence, and Lorca gets to show him. We get to see him in battle a little bit. Actually, see what he's like defending himself, and he's just some blaster fire really. But it was a fun little scene for the most part, which of course ended in the horrific scarring of this Klingon. Now, obviously, the rest of the episode, on the other side of things, is the Discovery and specifically Saru. As acting captain, try to figure out how to get to him, figure out his location, and go and save the captain. And the real dilemma here is that the Ripper, the beast that they're using to sort of navigate, as we saw last episode, this hurts him. It's actually depleting him. That's kind of what Michael goes to statements about and says, no, hey, this isn't going to keep working. He's going to shut down.
Yeah, I know. Last episode I complained it was a bit heavy-handed. And I think most of this episode I'm fine with it because it's directly relevant to the plot. But the very opening scene, the dream sequence that Michael has, where it's her in the cell instead, I was like...
That's the dream sequence was so unnecessary that I'd completely forgotten it even was there.
But I did until you just mentioned, the situation. It popped back into my head. I was quite annoyed by that being the opening because I was like, really, this didn't really need to be here. This is again more on that. We got this message last time.
Yeah, we didn't need that opening dream sequence. It's because I guess it's hinting because you see the prongs going to her. It's hinting that a human being will be the one that can do this later. So I see kind of what's there, but I don't think it was necessary.
I don't think that was the point of the dream, though, was it? It happens to be foreshadowing nicely, but the point was just to drive home how guilty she feels about it.
Well, it's debatable what the point was, I think. The writers could sit and tell you that, no, the point was to foreshadow that a human being could do it. It was like her sharing the pain because that's kind of the point, is that later on she could take the pain instead of him. Yeah. So I think, I can see the logic behind it. I just think, actually, having watched the episode as a whole, I don't think we actually needed the dream sequence. It was kind of forgettable. I didn't really take any of it in and go, oh, that was a good moment. Because it was too much of a flashy dream sequence where it was cutting between things and... not my kind of dream sequence, I guess, is what I'm saying. That said, it did lead to a nice little... when they're coming up with this plan, and they come up with, we can maybe put this in a human being, a sentient life form who shares enough biology with fungus,
yep,
which apparently we do, that is willing and knows what they're doing, is actually sort of aware of what they're actually doing, spliced with some of this DNA, they're going to give them a shot, basically, to get... Which I assume is something they have to do every single time. It's not just like a one-time thing you've got. It's like you take a dose, you can do it once.
I don't know. I thought I got the impression it was more like, no, this alters them.
It felt like a one-time thing to me. It felt like I think if Stamets is going to do it again, I think he's going to have to take another one. But
no, maybe.
That could be wrong.
For me, it just felt like, no, this is such a big ask because it's a permanent change.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was just the impression I got. The way they were speaking about it, it never implied that it was that big, though.
Yeah, that's true.
It never implied to me that, you're going to be altered for the rest of your life. But the one line that did come up that I thought was really a nice little touch was they mentioned that eugenics was banned, which is, of course, a reference to the history of, Khan and all that stuff that led to space seeds. So that was a nice little touch.
Yeah, there's a few references in this one, wasn't there?
What was the other ones?
I remember when when Saru's looking up the history of the captains, the decorated captains. You've got oh God, what's his name now? Pike.
I don't even know his
Pike's on the
name.
list. He was the bottom one on the list.
Was he? Okay. I never got to... I was reading them in order, and I think I got to the second last one before it went away.
Yeah, Pike was the bottom one.
Yeah, because Michelle Yeoh's character was there. She was the second bottom one. I got that far. No, that was a nice touch. So Stamets is the one that does it, and I knew he was going to. Because so we have this thing where... Did we know that he was dating the Doctor before now? Was that a new thing?
I don't think they'd said it, but I'd kind of just got it... I'd kind of just picked it up.
Yeah.
Because it didn't surprise me when it confirmed it. I was like, yeah, I just kind of figured it.
Yeah, it didn't surprise me, but at the same time I was like, oh yeah, I guess this is a thing. I feel like they never really had a scene where...
Yeah, that's fair.
We saw them hug or kiss or whatever.
No, I think there's just been a few moments that kind of implied it.
I guess I can't remember any though.
But I mean, definitely early on in this episode, when he comes in with Michael, and they confront Stamets, it's like, I was picking it up there for sure.
Yeah, he Yeah, he goes with Michael to suck because he like kind of agrees that the Ripper's getting sick. That this, well, not sick's maybe not the right word, but it is deteriorating because of what's happening, and it sort of comes to kind of corroborate Michael's findings because he'll probably not listen to her. Kind of confirms it and goes, but then later on they go to the captain, or acting captain Saru, who has already turned down Michael. Has already said no, like this is more important. Finding the captain's more important than caring about this. So no, we're going to use it to jump again. And they do use Ripper to jump, but as soon as they jump to where the captain is, Ripper kind of like expels all of his liquid and then just sort of forms into a ball.
It's kind of dark from Saru's point because he was like, you know what? They tell him, oh, this we think it might be sentient, and Saru's like, do you know what? I get that, but captain's more important, and if this is murder, it's on my head. That's it's a big step for him.
Yeah, because that's the thing. He looked up the captains because he wants to like sort of look at what made these captains respected, well received. Why are people looking up to these captains? And it's like, you know, cross reference like all the qualities that make them the captains that they are, and it, you know, gives them this list of, you know, they're compassionate, they're like brave, intelligent, courageous, all these things, and it's like he's trying to like almost kind of write himself a cheat book for how to be captain, and he's making all these calls, but then they're trapped there because they have to jump. This prison's in like, you know, deep enemy space, deep enemy territory, so they're behind enemy lines, and you know we have, you know, Captain what do you call him? Lorca. Captain Lorca and Ash, they've got a little ship, they've got one of the Klingon ships, and they're like being chased by other Klingon ships, and they're getting fired at, and this whole thing, and they eventually, you know, they talk to them, and they beam them on board before the ship gets destroyed, and it all goes down. But then they're like, okay, we need to get beam out of here. And you knew it was going to you knew it was Stamets because he just sort of he calls down, he's like, right, you know, we're ready to make the jump, and he's like, yeah, we're ready to make the jump, it'll happen. And you're like, okay, they're not showing us it, so it's definitely him.
And you can hear him hesitate before he says it.
Yeah, either him or Michael. I was half expecting it to make I got Michael to take it, but
yeah,
either way, like I knew a person had done it against the wishes, and so, you know, it wasn't a shock when it happened, but I was like, but that's the thing, they were trapped behind enemy lines, like this was like almost like, you know, can we even get away? Like, had he not thought outside the box, had he not went ahead and done that against his wishes, Saru might have got his entire crew killed because they'd be stuck here, because he forced them to make the jump when he was told this might not be able to keep happening. And
it was kind of his fault that they were stuck.
Exactly. So afterwards, he actually goes and has a heart to heart with Michael, and he's kind of he also decides to like delete the program that he started. You know, the line of thought process, all the captain stuff. He's like, no, delete it. But we see that he's upset. Part of the reason why he's so angry with Michael, beyond just losing his former captain, is that he wanted to actually be the first officer and learn from her. And he never got that chance because, you know, he was expecting Michael to, you know, become a captain, get her own ship and leave, and he would move up in the ranks, and he would get all the wisdom, he would get all these teachings, and he never did. He was kind of robbed of that. So that's, you know, part of why he's so...
quite an interesting motivation, isn't it?
It is. It's kind of almost bordering on selfish in a weird way.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's not just that he's upset that she died, which would be a natural... You know, obviously he cares for her, I'm not saying he doesn't, but it's like, no, he's also saying, no, I wanted this as well, I wanted these teachings, and I'm never going to get that.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that it's selfish in the sense that he wants to become, you know, he wanted to be the captain, he wanted to learn these things so he could be a captain, a good captain. But at the same time, it's like, I don't get the sense that it's personal. He wants to be a good captain just because he wants to do it so he can, you know, help the other, you know, people on the ship.
Oh, sure, yeah. He wants it for, because that's what he even says when the Doctor and Stamets are trying to convince him to not use the jump, to not use the photon drive. He's like, no, there's 130 souls on board relying on me. Like, no, I'm not listening to this. Like that's clearly what it is, and because he when he's talking to the computer, he says, oh, there's an element on board that is causing distracting and causing doubt in my judgment. And the computer's like, oh, get rid of the element. And he's like, that's not an option. It's like, yeah, I'd shove her on the airlock if I could, but that's not...
Lorca might not be too impressed.
But I think what's interesting about that, though, is it's almost... I wonder if, in a way, Saru almost looks at Michael and sees his own mistakes at the same time. because he was on board when she was there. He was, you know, acting science officer. You know, was there times when he could have done something, or was there times where, or she just reminds him of an earlier time when he was a bit more naive and he wasn't as good at what he did, and it's like, okay, he's kind of built himself, not a new career per se, but like everyone he worked with is kind of like not working with him anymore since the Shenzhou. Whereas now he's kind of built himself a new sort of, you know, from the ground up. He's got, you know, new crew, new captain. He's now the first officer. Yeah, he's kind of in his own new world. But then Mike will come like crashing back into his life and being this reminder of everything that he went through that, you know, went wrong, even if it wasn't necessarily his fault. I think that's like this constant reminder that he maybe doesn't want to have. But of course they have this moment, and she gives him the telescope.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's one of those that, you know, she says, "Oh, it's so that you can see the world or the universe how she did," and it's like this idea that maybe he can still get that wisdom, and, you know, that all those teachings that he wanted, even though she's not there to give them directly, he can actually get them from Michael.
Yeah. That's almost what symbolically it's doing. It's saying here, you know, and that's an interesting twist on it. Just purely because he's so kind of angry at her, and I think he still is, even though they're starting to build that bridge.
But he's kind of starting to realize that she has all that information, that knowledge, that wisdom that he wanted, and if he can get over this, put it to one side, he can learn from her, and he can, you know, become better like he wanted.
Yeah. I'll tell you what scene I did like, and probably the most Star Trek-y scene of the episode, is where they restore Ripper and then beam him out to space to, you know, which is fine for him. They're not killing him. For him, that's okay. And then he goes where he wants, you know, using his travel
the whole
method.
thing is set him free because, you know, sentient beings need to be free. That's a staple of Star Trek, isn't it?
But yeah, it was a very Star Trek moment where they sort of say, what was the line? It was we won't have his like heart on our conscience or something like that. It was like a very specific kind of sentiment, and I thought, oh, this is very Star Trek. These ideals and upholding these ideals, and I think it's interesting how they're going to seed these, or sort of, you know, just sprinkle them in throughout as we go. And as we've kind of predicted before, that maybe the further we go and the closer we get to the end of the war, I mean, I don't know if the war's going to last the whole show. Is the war going to be over at the end of this season? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that.
Part of me thinks the end of the season, just because I feel like, how much can we really do for doing the whole show with this one war?
I mean, depends how long the war goes on.
Like, you know, at what point are we sick of Klingons?
No, that's true. I'm inclined to think maybe the season, just based on the fact that we're only seeing the big moments. Like, you know, we saw that first jump into Klingon territory, you know, save the community last episode.
And he mentioned another couple.
Yeah, and then here it's like, no, 3 weeks, we've done all these things. We didn't need to see that. We don't need to see the day-to-day activities in the war. We just see the moments.
Yeah, the important stuff, yeah. Tilly's becoming quite the little MVP.
Yeah, definitely.
She's very likeable. You know, just simple little scenes in the cafeteria. Sort of. It's funny because she's kind of there to sort of prod information out of things. She doesn't really have much of a purpose for herself. Like, she's not really a character with her own sort of plot and arcs and whatever. And I'm sure there will be some of an arc. I'm sure she'll certainly, if nothing else, like, become less timid as time goes on and find some strength. Like, that's obviously what they're going to do with her, unless she, you know, dies randomly early.
Yeah, it'll be one of these. You know, again, she'll learn from Michael because, you know, she's in close proximity, and it'll be ultimately it'll proving that Michael should be, you know, still there. She should be in command because that's, you know, what she was trained to do. She's good at it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what she's going to have to do to convince them that she should actually be given a rank again, though.
I don't know what that will be, but I feel like this ends up one of two ways. Either she has to sacrifice herself, or she has to be given a rank back.
Are they ballsy enough to kill their main character at the end of the season?
I don't know. I really don't. But
would that give us an alien main character? Would Saru then become the main character?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I can see it though. Like, I mean, I don't know if they've got the balls to do it, but I can see it from a, you know, as a plot reason, you know, story, you know, where the arcs are building to. I can see it landing really well. I just don't know if they'll actually do it.
I don't think they will either. I think they'll come up with some reason to. All is forgiving to an extent I
Yeah,
imagine.
I don't think she can stay this outcast. She has to be redeemed one way or the other.
Yeah, she'll probably be restated at the end of the season, I would imagine. Uh,
Mm.
that's assuming, of course, we do kind of end neatly at the end of this war. If they end it in a cliffhanger and it's mid-war still, then maybe
Then
not.
yeah,
Yeah, it'll
definitely.
just be drawn out for however long we go.
Yeah. I will say, when they first introduced this technology and we were going, right, okay, how do we get rid of this by the time that we get to, original series
Mm.
and all the rest? I'm kind of starting to see where that's going. The implications of, using this are too dangerous. We've got to put people in harm and dismantle it, sort of thing.
Well, that brings us, I think, to talk about the ending scene, because obviously this is the big exciting
Yeah,
talking point of the episode
definitely.
that we've dodged up until now. Is so afterwards it's Stamets and the doctor, and they're brushing their teeth, getting ready for bed.
Very fancy toothbrushes because they're not brushes; they're just sticks.
Aye, they're like laser toothbrush or something, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not a brush if it doesn't have bristles.
Are you really correcting me because I said they were brushing their teeth?
No, when I was watching it, I was like, those are some fancy toothbrushes things.
I mean,
And it's
sure,
like,
maybe cleaning their teeth would be more accurate, but it doesn't feel right. I've never said that before. You say someone's brushing their teeth.
no, you're right. I just wanted to mention them basically. I just wanted an excuse.
Okay, so they basically have their moment. Are you sure you're okay? You fine? And he's like, oh, stop doctoring me. I'm fine. And have a
And it's
little.
like, well, of course he's not fine. I'm just waiting to see what's wrong.
So they're just having a little heart to heart. Doctor leaves, and Stamets is just there on his own, and it seems all fine. He's like, "Oh yes, all teeth are all clean. That's nice. Time for bed." And he walks off, and then the camera cuts, and his reflection's still standing there in the mirror, which is funny actually. So obviously, reflection's still there in the mirror. He sort of stays there for a little bit, and then walks off himself.
Yeah.
So first thing is that there has actually been wild theories about the internet before this episode about how we're actually either in the mirror universe or that a character is actually someone from the mirror universe. I've seen the crazy idea that Lorca is actually not this universe's Lorca. He's the darker version of Lorca who came from another world. The mirror universe, specifically.
Yeah. No, I got it.
Right? Crazy ideas. But I can't deny this ending's giving me, okay, there's mirror universe stuff going on here. He's in...
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we've got a reflection of someone doing their own thing.
Well,
So,
this is it. Was the reflection doing its own thing, or was it just on a delay? Because when it walked away, did it do the same action, and it just did it later, or did it go off and do or did it do something different?
that wasn't the same thing, because it was sort of staring very blankly before it moved.
It was, yeah. Okay.
So the entire demeanor felt different. If he felt darker as a character.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
So I'd say no, it wasn't just a delay. It was more than that.
Mm.
But certainly it begs one, and I feel like, okay, right. So we have the Klingon War, but this feels like more of a hook. It's like, okay, now we've got something exciting to explore.
Yeah, there's something more going on.
Klingon War was too easy. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Like, it's a war, but it's simple. Like,
It is. Yeah.
we understand it really well. This feels like, okay, now I'm excited. Now we're getting to some sci-fi shenanigans here. Beyond just space and quick travel.
Which is still cool.
Well, it's still cool, but this is making me think. This is making me go, oh, what does this mean? What's going on?
Yeah.
Is it as simple as alternate universe? Is it that kind of thing? And of course, the other thing we should mention this Section 31, which I don't think we've spoken about on these reviews yet.
No, because I am completely unfamiliar with it.
Well, as am I, actually, because as I understand it, it comes from Deep Space Nine, so we would have no reason to know what this is. But people have mentioned in the comments, and I've seen other people talk about it online, especially given
I had a quick scan of the wiki.
Yeah, just to see kind of what it was. Section 31 is like the kind of the Starfleet equivalent of a sort of Black Ops team that are kind of, they do the darker stuff that no one else talks about, and it's all off book and it's all kind of hidden and secret. Now, if that's not entirely accurate, again, we've not seen where this comes from. This is just a quick skim of what what it is based just on a paragraph of text. But people have noticed that 31's in the the number on the ship, the ship number code, and then the fact that it's all this stuff that we've not really heard about from the other shows would maybe lend credence to the fact that this is covert and that this, later on that this will all be hush hush because it's what it is.
No, it makes sense.
So I think that's interesting. So those are interesting two theories, but certainly the mirror one now has. I mean, I don't know if I'm necessarily going to buy that someone's already been switched.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it kind of loses some weight if it's already happened because, okay, he was always evil the whole time. We never really, if it was Lorca, based on what you were saying there, it's like, okay, sure, he was the dark version, but we never knew the good version, so it didn't really have that weight.
Well, it could. I think that's dismissing it a bit too easily. I think it can have weight. I think you can do this as a season 1 thing, where we find out mild spoilers for the Flash, but think of that a little bit.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like you can do this. You can make it work, and it could actually work really well. I think. I just don't know if I buy Lorca as that evil. Like I feel like he's got certainly a darker attitude, he's got more of an edge to him than other characters.
He just feels like he's affected by the war. Like he wants to win at any cost, and I feel like that's something that even good people can go through. They can go through. Okay, we want to win this war because people are dying. We want to stop this. We want to the greater good sort of thing. And that doesn't feel that unfeasible to me. That's just what happened.
No, I agree. I don't buy that he's necessarily a dark version. If anything, I think it'd be far more interesting if Michael was switched at some point, or something. I don't know, or Tilly. This is actually evil Tilly.
She's manipulating everything.
She is. She's at the core of the whole thing.
That's why she's swearing. She's actually evil.
Yeah, that's what it is. Of course it is.
And Stamets is as well. That's why he joins in. And Michael's like, "What the hell are you two doing? This isn't right." That was the clue.
And that's obviously if we're going with that theory, that side of the theory. The other side of the theory is that we're just in the mirror universe already, and that things are going to go bad, which could make for a total what the F ending. Like if the Klingons win the war, what's happened? What's going on? This is not what happens in Star Trek. And they could lead to an explanation later. I don't know. I don't know if I buy these theories in particular. They're kind of fun to think about, but certainly.
Yeah, I feel like they need to give me more to go on and convince me why these are good ideas before I'm ready to accept them.
But certainly, this ending with the mirror does kind of imply that we're going to be playing with some of these ideas at the very not those specific ideas with these theories, but just the idea of the mirror universe. I feel like. The whole idea that this, because he talked about how it was like almost a matrix of avenues and connections across the universe, and it's almost like I can kind of buy how that leads to other versions of the universe.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It clicks in. Besides, and if you don't believe any of that, then what's the ending of this?
I have no idea. I really don't. If it's not any of that.
So you don't have answers. That's fine.
I don't.
But yeah, so the ending got me excited because I think the episode for me, it was kind of varying. Like I liked once it really got going towards the end, and I liked some of the stuff early on. It was like some of the Klingon prison cell stuff. I felt like it was a bit too. I was like, okay, I get the point. They come in and beat them up, and he's not trusting the other ones. It just. It wasn't until later on when it got really juicy that I got into it again.
You. I think I was a little. The only bit of the Klingon ship I wasn't really into was the Clockwork Orange style torture.
Yeah, the interrogation scene didn't really do anything for me either.
Yeah, but I think I was enjoying the cell stuff just because I was enjoying, Harry Mudd. This is fun. Even when it was kind of, it was the point of it was repetitive. It's like, oh, should we trust them? Oh, we got to turn on each other. But there was some fun dialogue at least to get through it.
It's just every time it cut back to the cell, I wasn't as enjoying the cell stuff as much as I was the actual Discovery stuff.
That's fair. But once they broke out and stuff, and they went on the chase and all that, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that picked up. It picked up at that point. I think the Discovery stuff typically felt like it had more energy, and I guess that just makes sense because in the cell they're just sort of sitting there talking.
Sat in a cell, yeah. That's kind of the point.
That kind of makes sense, but I guess it's just a kind of a way of okay, you write those then to feel like they have energy in other ways, whereas it didn't really feel like they did. It felt kind of laid back almost. given
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah, you never felt like there was a rush to figure an escape plan or anything like that. It felt very much like, oh well, we're here, we'll just talk. The wife that Mud kept mentioning, is that the one that we saw in that the episode in the original series where he built all the copies of that wife that nags him?
Oh God,
Stella. It sounds familiar, but I wasn't certain.
I'll tell you what, I'll find out. This is an easy thing.
Just the way he was talking about her, and it was cracking me up if it was her. Just the idea that he went from this here of I want to see my wife, to when we see him later in the timeline to that woman.
That that witch, I believe, was a phrase that's used a lot.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, that might be a reference to that if it is. I kind of took it. I assumed Mud had multiple ways.
That's the thing. That's why I'm questioning it, because I just assumed, well, he could easily. He's that sort of guy. Just to Google, Mud's wife is Stella Mud.
Stella Mud.
Yep, that's her.
Is that?
Yeah. Also, Harcourt Fenton Mud. That was his full name.
Hardcore, that was it. And Fenton. Quite right.
Yes.
There you go. That's episode 5 of Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah. I that was alright. I don't think it was as good as last week's.
Honestly, I feel like the pacing was the biggest problem in this episode. I feel like it was flipping back and forth, and every time it flipped, I feel like it just felt uneven. So it didn't really it never really felt like the hunt for the captain was really that much of a challenge. We got a couple of sentences where Saru was saying, "Oh, we're up on the bridge trying to figure out what the captain is," and then when we got to the time where it was time to jump, it was just, they just know by now. They never really felt like it was actually a struggle to find.
I think I get the point. That wasn't the point. The point was the moral quandary of what do we do with this creature. I get that, but it still feels like there should have been some urgency on the bridge. I think it's just it lacks that.
Yes. So it's a mixed bag, but it does have some cool character moments. It does bring up some really interesting ideas, and that ending is definitely intriguing and has me thinking. It's like, okay, that's the first exciting cliffhanger it's really gave me, I think.
Yeah.
And I really like the sweet moment of letting Ripper go. That was kind of a...
Yeah. Also, I really like the effect of all the when he looks around where he's going to go, and you can see like the lightning almost, and he just follows one of the trails.
Yeah, no, it looked really cool. But it was sweet, as I think I liked it.
Yeah.
And by the way, Ripper was also the nickname of Rupert Giles on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
People are getting sick of it, Pete. People are getting sick of you making these jokes. And not just me.
Mainly you. But anyway,
mainly me.
That has been episode 5. Choose your pain. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can do that over there. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?